Hi, I'm Rev.Jessie Brandon, and I am a life cycle celebrant as well as a metaphysical minister. And you're watching Epiphanies. This is where I get to bring my two loves together, people and books. So grab yourself a drink, a cup of tea, cup of coffee, settle into your favorite chair. And today, I'm very excited because I think this is probably the first time that we are discussing a book by someone who's been a guest on my show. It is called The Inner Dominatrix Guide, Become a Badass in Business by Dana Ferrant. And Dana is just a fabulous person as well, so it's really terrific that we are looking at her book today. And what she has to say is, the journey to becoming a dominatrix challenged me to stand in a place of power, not power over as one would assume, but power within. I learned to push people past what they thought were their limitations and towards seeing themselves as much more than they ever thought possible. It taught me what real confidence is, what being client-focused looks like, and most of all, how to use energy instead of force to get what I wanted. Well, what a great introduction to that. And today, discussing Dana's book with us is Louise Buckley. And Louise, for the past 7 years, has built her holistic business called Your Inner Essence. And she is a master hypnotist, a Reiki master. Louise helps people, she assists people on their life path from wherever they're at to where they wish to go. Louise, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so
very
excited.
exciting.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we've got this chance to sit together and talk. So tell me about the book. Why did you choose to do this one?
Because I'm a secret badass. It's one of those books, just the title, Your Inner Dominatrix. My business is Your Inner Essence. So it's kind of, there's a parallel there that's kind of, but this is naughty. and I just, everything that I do is calm, and there's nothing badass about it in appearance. This book is right there in front. It's in your face, the title by itself. And it just simply called to me that it was actually a challenge. It was a challenge, for a personal challenge for myself, to step outside of, that calmness within me, but also addressed and spoke to that badass in me. So I wanted to see, I was curious. I was very curious about, what has a dominatrix got to do with business? You know, there is that side to it. So when I started reading the book, Dana, she's a fabulous writer. I will say that up front. I really wasn't sure how the first few pages were going to grab me, because I have a very short attention span. And if a book doesn't grab me in the beginning, then I don't even bother going any further. I couldn't put the book down. I found it very frustrating when other things in my life were calling me to go and do things. So kudos to Dana for that, because she got me in the first few pages. Her integration of her life, how she became a dominatrix, the backstory of that, and how she's integrated it into business, and the parallels is phenomenal. Like, I so enjoyed watching the book unfold. And when you know about the author, when you're reading, and the author is speaking of herself, she's talking there are things in there that everybody can relate to. And I guess also that the dominatrix part of the book, everybody has their opinion. Everybody has their fear. And everybody, I believe everybody is secretly curious. So that might be why somebody else would pick up the book. But in reading her story about herself before she became a dominatrix, and then the integration of stories throughout the book of being a dominatrix and what it meant, she peels away all the layers of judgment. You cannot be judgmental with this book.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I found in the book there are so many different levels of thoughts and opinions that get addressed, but also she dispels. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Yeah. I had the honor of being one of the proofreaders for this book, and I kept texting her and saying, this is absolutely fascinating. I can't wait for the book to come out, because there was just so much in there. And she really takes the whole idea of being a dominatrix and addressing the inner part of us.
That's right.
The power in us that we have to authentically step forward and assertively do what we need to do.
Yes.
And get what we want, as she very clearly says, not in an aggressive way, but in just owning your power and using your energy for the good of all, really.
That's right.
And she completely dispels the idea that, you started out by saying this book is naughty.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure what you meant, but what I think is that you start out thinking, oh boy, this is going to be all about, but you know what? It's not about sex at all.
No, and actually, my partner, when he saw that I was reading this book, instantly, that was what he was like, oh, that's a bad book, right? And I'm like, you better believe it's a bad book. It's a badass book. Yeah. Right? But it was, I have written, I have a tendency to write in my books.
I do too, and highlight.
I highlight and everything. One of the things that was fabulous, I better not lose my spot. One of the things that is very good about the book is that while it's a book about being in business, we have challenges as entrepreneurs because we have to be the bookkeeper. We have to be the person that does your advertising and things like that, and your accountant. And then you have to be the front of your business, right? The person that everybody comes to for whatever services you have. But there's very little out there that I'm aware of that actually addresses all that stuff inside of us that slows us down, that gets in our way for being as successful as we want to be. We have these big dreams that we're going to have this wonderful business, but then, what happens when you're scared or you're not sure or something fails? What helps you inside of you to pick you up and keep going? And she addresses all those things in such a way that is easy for everybody to understand. And she gives you permission to actually acknowledge that, yes, you do feel that way. To the point where you are looking behind you wondering if she's watching you. Because she knows human nature. She knows how people's brains think. And this was one of the things that was very appealing to me because it's what I do in my business as well. So it was exciting to see it and other people are doing it as well in the simple, easy to understand forms. And then on top of that, she addresses those the monkey talk or the back chat, the self-sabotaging parts of your brain. Yeah. She addresses those, but then she gives you attainable tools in how to dispel them. And they're so simple that you almost want to wish that you'd thought of it.
Yeah.
And some of them, one in particular that she uses, I now have implemented in my business as well. So the expanding.
Yeah, I know. I love that. I love that.
That is so simple.
I, of course, have taken it to the funny perspective because she talks about expanding so big that the wind blows through you. And so I have come to be the wind. You know?
That's excellent. That's actually excellent because you've taken something that she's said and made it your own as well, which is something else that Dana really encourages.
Yeah.
I get I can feel out of her book that she wants to empower you to be you.
Absolutely.
Right? And she's giving you tools, but she also allows you, like she doesn't want to credit that that's her tool. I mean, she'll get credit, but just because she's so wonderfully empowering of everybody, but you almost bring her more compliment in making it your own. So when you say, be the wind, that's you just completely zapping everything and making sure it's instant. And it's very good.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Yeah, well, let's thank Dana because yeah, because she does have such a cool way of just saying, bam, this is how to get where you want to go, and then explaining just a little bit, because I know that Dana's method is not. We don't need to talk about the past. We need to talk about who you are
right now,
what's inside of you, and how you're free to bring that out. Just be free. I mentioned her in one of my interviews recently where I said, she says, oh gosh, just like that, it went right out of my head. I am doing that much too much lately. Oh, okay. Wouldn't it be fun if, just a way of tweaking your brain to look at it differently. We don't have to commit and be so aggressive and be so focused. I like that. Wouldn't it be fun if we just tried this? Wouldn't it be fun if there was more money in my life? Wouldn't it be fun if I just, you know, wasn't afraid to go do that thing?
That's right.
I just love that about her.
She very much encourages play.
Yes.
Which is part of that dominatrix as well. And she also explains the dominatrix, which is another part that is appreciated in the book, because that in itself dispels the misconceptions and misunderstandings of what a dominatrix is actually about.
Yeah, I love that part because it really changed my viewpoint on the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Because I'd been present at a speaking engagement where she went up and said, I was a dominatrix.
That's right.
And all the men in the crowd were like, whoa, and it's like, wait, fellas, this is not going where you think it is.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So do you have something there to read for me?
I do. And in her, it's about money. Actually, it's not just about money. It's about buying into the myths about money and other things. So I'll read it. Money issue, weight issue, or family issue are all symptoms of the same underlying core dynamic. The real problem is you buy into the idea there is something wrong with you. I like that part, the idea that there is something wrong with you. That puts you on the lookout for evidence of how you upped. In your search for how you are wrong, you fail to see how amazing, brilliant and powerful you actually are. That's an excellent example right there of how she brings the issue to the forefront, but then also speaks in very frank terms, which makes her more real as well, and then reminds you, you actually are amazing and brilliant and powerful. And something that does she does that throughout the entire book. So in a sense, she's also doing hypnosis, because there's that repetition of reminding you that you are brilliant and you are amazing and you are powerful. But anyway, I'll carry on, sorry.
Okay.
The idea that what you focus on grows is not likely a new concept to you. When we apply it to the money, your money issue becomes your focus. Are you staring squarely at the lack of money coming in? If so, that is precisely what is going to show up, a lack of money. Now, let's go a bit deeper. What creates that focus of lack? Are you telling yourself about your ability to generate more money? Is it that you are brilliant? Not likely. I would bet big dollars that you are highly judgmental of what you are doing, how you are doing it, and why you are, get the results that you do. By addressing and changing the internal self-judgment program running in your system, the root of the money problem is also addressed. So I liked how she really does dig deeper, and she digs deeper in a way that most of us have never really thought about. You know, like the general population don't think about why we have those money issues, or why, whatever the issue is, what is that back chat, what is it telling us? And she gives you ways, she highlights it, and then she gives you ways of how addressing it. And then if you do what she does through the book, like the little exercises, it becomes a workbook, and you start to free yourself of all these things. Yeah. So
you said that you've, oh, right, sorry, you did answer that. You said that there was something in the book you've already started doing in your business. Is there anything else, like particularly to do with money, that you're either you have changed or are working on changing the way you address money issues?
Well, I have worked with Dana, and so through that, prior to reading the book, which I would imagine she was still writing the book at the time, she gave me new ways of looking at things in order to change and to improve or polish what I already know. And so what have I done? I can't be absolutely specific. It's part of that spotlight thing.
Yeah, I know. I just suddenly realized, I just went,
yes. That red hot seat just got hot. But I can tell you that the message of the book is with me all the time. And I think about it all of the time. Because she makes it so easy for you. It's an in-depth book that's easy and encouraging to read. It's like a warm blanket. She talks about a warm blanket. That for me, I've been able to move forward more easily in not just my business, but other areas of my life with confidence because of the tools that she's given me.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Very cool. I know that I too have I don't know if I'd say worked with her, but certainly taken some of her classes, workshops, whatever, seen her speak, and I've seen her grow. And to me, that's the proof of the book, is that as she's learned and applied those things to her own life, not just in business, but to herself,
absolutely,
she has just skyrocketed. And it's really been just incredible to watch. I mean, not just a joy, but really interesting to watch, because there's somebody using their own tools, and you see the difference.
She walks her talk.
She really does.
She really does.
Yeah.
And you see that throughout the book as well, because she is literally an open book, because she will address her own challenges that she's had.
Right.
And for some people that could be very vulnerable to admit, you know, that they've been weak, or there's areas that they're weak. And you know, I've heard in other shows where you've addressed that in fact you're not weak, you're actually very strong. I think you were referring once to the self-help books and that sort of thing, and how you have to be pretty strong. But it's I've had a mental block.
That's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay, because you get headed down a road and then another thought comes.
Squirreled.
I think that I think we can clearly identify ourselves as Dana fans.
Absolutely. Yes.
and really, the tools that she gives in that book really do work.
Yeah.
And it really is a great read.
If I could encourage, like, why would somebody want to read the book? Especially if they are put off by the title. I would encourage people to read the book, even if you're not in business, because she addresses the human nature. She addresses it in a way that's kind. And she is kind. You can... because I know the sound of her voice, I can hear her words as I read them, or her voice as I read them. And she gives you permission to look at yourself, address the things that you may find really difficult, or she may even highlight something, and a light bulb will go off inside of you and go, that's what that was. Now I understand. And there's nuggets in this book for everybody.
Yeah, I love that you've already touched on it, but I love that one of the main themes of her work is you're not broken. You are not broken.
Yes.
There's things to work on. There's things that you can change to feel better in life, to achieve more in life.
That's right.
But you're not broken.
That's
Get that through your head.
Yes.
And I think that's really cool. But now I want to know what's really cool about you. Let's talk about you, because, of course, you have your inner essence, and I've been to your
holistic studio.
Your studio, that's what I was going to call it, a studio, and then I thought, is that what you would call it? So yeah, studio. It's lovely, it's warm, it's inviting. What do you do there?
Oh my goodness. Well, I am a hypnotist and a Reiki master, and so I use those tools to assist people wherever they're at. So
give me some examples.
Yeah, so, if you wanted to improve your golf game, we'll start off easy. If you wanted to improve your golf game, then you can come and we can do some hypnosis for improving your golf. If you had something more serious, you had a fear that was really controlling your life, I had a client once who was afraid of being late. So
that would not be me.
So, and so it's one session. That's the most exciting part about dealing with fears. I will be very specific. Other things do take a little bit longer, but so she came to me with a fear of being late, and we addressed it. And obviously, right there and then, you're not going to know if it took, kind of thing, or if her subconscious mind accepted it. I have actually 100% success rate with all my fear clients.
Wonderful.
So far, unless they're all being nice to me, which I don't think they are.
They're afraid to tell you that they're still in fear.
Yeah. So,
no, I would
yeah.
totally accept that.
Yes. So I've had people with fears. I've had people come that have had trauma in their life, and they want to deal with their trauma. The use of hypnosis is a very gentle way of doing it. It's in the hypnosis world, we say it's a fast track, because you're getting to the root very quickly. We have tools that aid and support you along the way. So yeah, there's that. And then with Reiki, lots of people these days are familiar with Reiki, and so there's that common theme out there that it helps you mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I do have clients with me that I'm being their spiritual guide, if you like. So I'm supporting them. So I'm not using Reiki or hypnosis with that.
I think it's really interesting that you just found the space that worked for you, and it didn't matter what was around you, because it matters what you do there, and that's the energy that happens.
Well, Spirit guided me there. I'm a very spiritually guided person, and so Spirit found me there and put me there, and when I walked in and was looking at the place, it was instant. So yes, it was.
That's super. I love your studio. It just is so pretty and inviting. So I want to thank you, Louise, for coming today and taking time out and sharing with us your book and a little bit of insight into it, and a little bit about your business.
Thank you.
So we've been talking with Louise Buckley about the book, Become a Badass in Business by Dana Ferrant, and a superb book and a great guest. You're watching Epiphanies. Thank you for dropping in. I appreciate your time. Do come again.